Yeah, I've had to wipe my eyes. Wipe my eyes? Wipe the tears? It's one of those things. All right, so just to kind of recap, Ray's deep dive dinner is tomorrow night, but also there's some lunch and learn sessions as well today, tomorrow, and the final day as well. So you might be seeing people handing around these forms around the room. Just grab one, even if you're like, oh, I'll pass, just grab one anyway, check it out. All right, so today's lunch and learn is actually with Chris Holder. So what I want you to actually do is on your piece of paper in front of you, I want you to write down the one thing that you think is your biggest challenge in your business right now. Like the one challenge, the one, I don't know, wall that you're having to climb over, choke hold, whatever it might be. I want you to just be aware of that because Chris is a master at helping people overcome their biggest issues in their business. And for those of you in the lunch and learn, he's going to be able to help you get over that. So if you want to grab the lunch and learn tickets, as well as any of the deep dives or any of the sessions, you can go to the registration desk and you can make that happen. Is that clear? Clear? All right, okay. So the next speaker I want to introduce you to is someone who I've actually become really good friends with. I met her at GoPro in 2018. We had an amazing conversation together, and she is the number one expert in her field. Who gets emails or notifications when they get paid from their company? Whether it's weekly, monthly, daily, whatever. You feel good about it, right? Yeah? You like it when it says you've just received some commissions, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. How would you like it if you were to keep more of that money instead of giving it away, right, in taxes and stuff like that? You'd like that, right? Yeah? Wow, in the UK, people are losing their clothes when you say that. It's save that. 52% we pay in the UK, just to let you know. So she just shared with me stories about how she saved people literally tens of thousands of dollars using the strategies that she's going to share, some of which with you. She's actually one of the people who are doing the lunch and learn sessions. She is incredible. Her business doing this has exploded, and I don't know anyone who works harder than her. I travel around the world. She travels more than I do. It's crazy. So I want you to give her a massive Top Summit round of applause to Courtney Epps.
Thank you. Okay. I got 2 clickers. We'll figure out which one works. How are y'all? I am so excited because this is the first time all year long that I've actually been out of my office and not working 20 hours a day. So it's so nice to be here and be able to speak with you guys. And I want to make sure, yep, that's it. Okay. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me so you understand who I am and what I do. No frills, but I've been doing this for the last 19 years. I'm an accountant. First and foremost, I like to tell people that I'm a tax strategist. And the reason why is because people don't understand what tax strategy is. And I feel like that's something that I'm bringing a whole nother level to the accounting industry. So I'm a wife, I'm a mom of 6 children. My children are 17, 16, 15, 14, 12, and 7 currently. Yes. So a lot of kids. We homeschool 5 out of the 6 of them, and we own our own full-service accounting firm in Greenville, South Carolina. So we service clients in every state, all over the entire country, and I travel, I speak, as well as I've written a book, so I'm super proud of that. It was something I've always wanted to do, and I love to talk. So I figured, if I write a book and then I start speaking, I can talk all the time. And so what happens is that I talk a lot, and then a lot more people come to the office, and then I'm stuck at work more. So we have really grown from 2 employees in the last 4 months to 23. Things are rapidly increasing, but what I do typically on a daily basis, on top of doing tax returns, is I do about 14 to 18 tax strategy sessions every single day of my life when I'm in my office. And I do those every 30 minutes. And what I typically find is between $5,000 and $50,000 that people are overpaying in taxes every single year because their accountant just doesn't understand. And so, and they're good accountants. I'm not saying they're not. They're CPAs, they're tax attorneys, but they just don't understand one, the biggest thing is the network marketing industry and the home-based business industry. And so that's what I really focus on. So I'm going to dive right in and get started and tell you why I love the network marketing industry. Actually, I had a business. I sold that business about 10 years ago now. It was an accounting firm and an insurance agency. I had about 3,500 clients. I put it up for sale, and the guy I sold it to, after 4 months, he stopped paying me. And I lost everything that I owned. And in the entire state of South Carolina, I had a non-compete, so I could not do anything involving insurance and accounting. And every single time I tried to get a job, he would threaten to sue every owner, business owner. And so I was unemployable, and I could not start over because everybody I knew was my client. So it was very tough for me, and my parents got me involved in the network marketing company, and I didn't see it as a viable opportunity, but what I did see is it was a way for me to build my accounting practice again. And so what I went through is that I had someone that was in that group. She wanted me to do her tax return, and when I did, the year before she was just a W-2 employee, and then that next year, she became a W-2 employee with a home-based business, and I was able to save her $4,100 more than she'd ever gotten back before. And see, the thing is, it was such a big deal for her because she was not successful at that point in time. But when I did that tax return, she had enough money to use the product. And as soon as she used the product, she started telling people about it. And when she started telling people about it, she built a massive team. So she had hundreds of people on her team in the next 3 or 4 months because she saved money on her taxes. And see, the thing for me, it didn't make sense to me. Like, I didn't understand there was this whole group of people that you could help them make money. I understood that I could help them save money, and I saw that opportunity, and I'm like, man, this is great. So I love network marketing. It's one of the greatest things to me. I mean, if I wasn't doing accounting, I would probably be doing network marketing. But I made a decision about 2.5 years ago that I would only do this because it was so important for the entire industry to understand it, and I never wanted anybody to think that I was trying to compete against them or take anything away. So I'm not actively in network marketing, nor will I ever be. And I've had people ask me all the time, well, Courtney, you can make so much more money. Yes, I could. But if one person didn't listen to me because I was in network marketing and they were scared to put their people in front of me, and that person didn't stay in long enough to win, that would be my fault. So I don't care about the money. That's not the purpose. But I want you to understand a couple things. And I'll dive deeper in this tomorrow for the Lunch and Learn. I would love to give you every bit of information today, but I cannot. But I want to show you how people are overpaying $4,000 to $8,000 a year just by being a W-2 employee and not having some sort of home-based business. That's what I find. I've done thousands and thousands of business tax returns, corporate returns, personal returns, partnership returns, and that's what I find. You go from last year being a W-2 employee, you now are a W-2 employee with a home-based business, it's $4,000 to $8,000. What I also want you to understand is there are two tax systems in this country. There's one for the self-employed and there's one for the W-2 employee. And what people don't realize is that business owners run this world. They run the economy. They create wealth, okay? And they bring in people. They bring in employees, and they pay those employees. We have to have tax deductions in order to pay the employees. So the employees pay the taxes. It's just how it works here. So their employees are always going to pay more money, and as soon as you realize that, it's like, oh, okay, I can make $100,000 over here as a W-2 employee, and I'm going to pay $20,000 or $30,000 more in taxes than I would if I were a business owner. Huge difference. So I believe that you would be brain dead if you don't have some sort of home-based business, and that's the subtitle of my book. Only because for tax purposes, that's what I see. Okay? Everybody in America should own a home-based business. Do you want to know why? The government's done a really good job of teaching people why network marketing isn't real or why it's a pyramid scheme. And honestly, you can't prove to me any different. I believe they're behind it full steam. And the reason why, because if you follow the money, every household in America, if they had some sort of home-based business, it would cost the government $508 billion a year in federal taxes. So you follow the money, that's why people don't believe it's real. It's the only thing that a W-2 employee can do on a part-time basis to build a full-time income and then later walk away from it and pay less taxes along the way. So that's just my take on it. That's what I see. So I love working alongside speakers, coaches, trainers, and network marketers and help attract more people on their team, help them stay in long enough to win, and help them keep more of their hard-earned money when they actually make it. And so I do believe this industry is for everybody. And why I want you guys to realize is why it's so important to tell everyone about what you're doing is that 46% of Americans don't have an extra $400 to their name. And that was me when I got started in home-based business and network marketing. I had no money to start my first company. I put 900 people in that company. My parents paid for me to join. The next company I built, I had $428 in my bank account. It cost $421 to get started. I had $7 left over. I was in Alabama. The most part is crazy. 8 hours away from home with 6 kids, and I just hoped. But see, the thing is that as an entrepreneur, I knew there was no other way than for me to get started and to build a business. For a W-2 employee, they see it and there's no option. There's no way that they can take a chance. So half the people you're sitting down talking with, they don't have enough money to get started. That's a major problem. I mean, they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, so we have to help them figure out how do they free up this money. So 69% of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 to their name. So what happens when they can't work anymore? So that's why you need to share this with everyone. So here's the numbers. I want to break it down for you. The average American household is going in debt $4,000 a year. And here's how it works. So if you're a W-2 employee, your average household income in America is $60,000. Okay, so if you're single and married, you've got your income, you've got now your business expenses. You don't have any because you're a W-2 employee. Standard deduction or itemized deduction, everybody in America is entitled to that. $12,000 if you're single, $24,000 if you're married. And then we've got taxes. So taxes come out of your paycheck and you don't have an option. You have no say-so in that. And here's your take home. Then what's left over is cost of living. So we got to spend money to live, right? So the average cost of living in America is $53,000 a year. So I just limited a little on the single, but it's about the same either way. So you're left over with negative $4,000. So what happens when you show somebody an opportunity and they're negative $4,000 a year? They can't even fathom that they could get started. So it's our job to help them understand by having a home-based business, you are going to save $400 to $700 a month in taxes. And I literally used to tell that to my downline. I would pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, you can either pay your $100 auto ship this month or you can pay the IRS $400. Which one you want to do? They'd be like, oh, I guess I'll call and pay my auto ship. Okay, let's do that. Yes. So what I want you to understand, as a home-based business owner, you have tax deductions that you're already spending money. So I want you to understand we're not spending more money than what we were spending yesterday when we were a W-2 employee, but now that we have a home-based business, we can now move into this category and we can start taking tax deductions. And I've lost my slide. It's just gone away. I don't know where it went. Maybe we're going to get, okay. What's a tax deduction? So tax deduction, the IRS says that any expenses incurred for the purpose of gaining or producing income and is incurred with a reasonable expectation of resulting in future business and is reasonable under the circumstances. So what does that mean? If you're attempting to earn income today or in the future and it's reasonable, it's tax deductible. Well, what is reasonable? I mean, I spent $85,000 last year to be a platinum partner with Tony Robbins. On top of that, I spent another $40,000 in travel to be able to go around to every event that he had. My business grew 10 times. That was beneficial and it was reasonable because I was looking for the right people. I was looking for the right help and I was looking for the top 1% to help me get to where I needed to be. So it was reasonable to think that I spent $125,000 last year on personal growth and development to grow my business. So see, it's what's reasonable for you. It's not reasonable for the IRS. And as long as you can show that you're attempting to earn an income, almost everything that you do on a daily basis can be tax deductible. So here's how it works. We now can redirect, as we are home-based business owners, we can redirect our living expenses and turn those into business expenses. And I want to show you what this looks like. So we have a W-2 employee. Now we can all agree, I think we all have these expenses. We have medical bills, we have medical insurance, property taxes, real estate taxes, mortgage interest, charitable contributions. All of these things are itemized deductions, and you are entitled to take those off of your tax return if you go above $24,000 a year if you're married, $12,000 a year if you're single. 96% of Americans never get $1 of benefit from having any of these expenses because there's caps on every single one of them. Then on top of that, we have living expenses, so meals, cell phone, internet, travel, products that they're buying, daycare, all of these things everybody still has, but W-2 employees get no benefit. Now, let's move them over to today, we started a home-based business. And because we did that, now today we get to write off things like our medical bills. Medical bills can actually be written off 100% as a fringe benefit. So you can hire your spouse. Your spouse can in turn pay the medical bills. You would reimburse him 100% for those medical bills, and that becomes a business expense. So instead of not getting benefit, you now get 100% benefit as a business expense. Then you've got medical insurance, 100% tax deductible when you're a business owner. Property taxes. If you had an RV or a car that you use for your business and you use that to ride around and go build a team or go see new reps or whatever, then that becomes a tax deduction. So property taxes can be written off as well. Business use of your home. And I want to stop right now because business use of your home, I have so many people that get on the phone with me every day and they're like, oh, my accountant told me I was going to get audited. Well, one, anybody can have a home office in their home, even if they have a brick and mortar location. The IRS would never know which is which. But I will tell you that in 19 years, I've never had one client audited that had a home-based business. And I've only ever had one client audited, and it was a hairdresser. And we won that audit. And I had one client that I handled an audit for. It was a $6 million trucking company, and it was a 7-day audit, and I won every single thing. Because, see, the IRS has to prove to you, they have the burden of proof for the first 3 years to prove that you're not using this expense for a hobby, that you're using it for business purposes. So they have to prove it otherwise. Whereas after the 3 years, I'm sure you guys have heard of the 3 out of 5 year rule, that you're not supposed to have a loss more than 3 out of 5 years. That's absurd. Okay, that makes no sense because we have the same expenses and deductions, and we're entitled to the same tax laws as Ford Motor Company and Amazon, who, by the way, paid $0 last year on $11.2 billion. Okay, and the average American pays 40% in taxes. So the burden of proof after 3 years falls back to you to prove that it is a business. So huge difference. So now we've got business use of your home. That's $3 to $5 grand typically a year. Charitable contributions. I'll show you in just a second how you can actually take 100% deduction on your charitable contributions, which is what I do every single year because you have to give from a gross income level instead of a net income level. And then you have, so I pick up the phone and I call, tell me your name. Kelly. So I call Kelly, me and Kelly are good friends. I call her and I say, hey, Kelly, I just want to share with you something I'm doing. And so I get in my car and I drive to Shelley and I get to drive 58 cents a mile, which yesterday I wasn't a business owner, so now I get a tax deduction. So I go sit down with Kelly and I say, Kelly, I want to tell you what I'm doing. We have lunch. Now I get to write off 50% of my meal on top of that. Okay, the next thing I get to write off, I tell her what I'm doing, and I say, Kelly, I'm super excited about it. I would love for you to be a part of it. And she says, Courtney, I'm all in. Or she said, sometimes, and I've had people actually tell me this when I built network marketing, I think you're going straight to hell, or you're going straight to jail, or you're taking my money. And I'm going to look at Kelly, and I'm going to say, you know what, Kelly, it was great having this meal with you, because I get to write off 50%. The only difference between me and you is that you're sitting there, and you don't get the tax deductions that I do. And I'm just trying to help you. So you may not get it, and that's okay, but the thing is I'm going to get back in my car. I'm going to write off 58 cents a mile. I'm going to write off business use in my home. I'm going to write off my swimming pool, because guess what? My employees work on my property, and because they do, I can offer them my swimming pool, and it's 100% tax deductible as a fringe benefit. I can offer them an athletic facility, a golf course, a tennis court, or a swimming pool, or all of 4 if I want to. So at that time, Kelly, now I'm gonna call you on my cell phone and I'm gonna tell you bye, right? Because we're probably not gonna talk anymore after this. But I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna say, hey, I called you on my cell phone because I can write that off. My internet, I needed that to run my business, so I get to write that off too. Then on top of that, guess what? I get to go with my friend Natasha. We're going on a trip. Me and her's doing some continuing education in Naples, Florida, and we get to write all that off and we get to spend time with the people we love. And it's all tax deduction, but it's travel too, right? We're having fun on top of that, and we're learning, and because of that, we get to write that off. So, Kelly, I was just trying to explain to you how I was saving $4,000 to $8,000 a year by having a home-based business, and if you don't get it, that's cool. That's all I was trying to do. And so it makes a lot of difference. Then on top of that, see, my son is here with me, and also my assistant. So my son Wells is here with me, and he's videoing over here. Well, guess what? I hired Wells. Wells is a personal assistant of mine. So because I hired him, everything that we're doing here with him is tax deductible as well. And then on top of that, I pay him to do things that I can't write off. Right? So if we go out to eat, and with my family, if we go to Carowinds, whatever we're doing, I'm paying Wells or my children, and then they're paying for it. So 100% of everything we do is tax deductible in some way. You just have to figure out how to do it. And there's no thank you. There's no law against it. So you can pay your kids $12,000 a year, and they don't have to pay taxes on it, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. So I have 6 children times $12,000. That's $72,000. I don't have to pay taxes on. Last year I bought 2 vehicles. One gave me a $65,000 deduction the day I bought it. The next one gave me a $10,000 deduction on December 31st. I called my husband. I said, I don't care what car you buy, go buy a car on December 31st. He bought a car. I got a Cadillac. So it was a $10,000 deduction on December 31st. It was a $16,000 deduction on January the 1st. Okay, you've got to understand, these tax laws are there, and they're not loopholes. They're not something that's going to cause you to get audited. What you just have to understand is you have to know what they are, and you have to take advantage of them. And you have to stop being scared of people who are trying to bring you to a point where you don't get these tax deductions just because they don't understand them. So, that being said, office supplies, legal and professional. I am a tax deduction. Tax strategy sessions. You go to the event tomorrow. All of these things are tax deductible. So I just want you to understand, they have the same expenses. I'm not telling you to quit your day job. I'm not telling you to stop being a W-2 employee. I'm just telling you, take advantage of the deductions that you're entitled to over here. And then we have extra expenses. We have things like advertising. We have code breaker technologies, which I think is by far one of the greatest things on the face of the planet. I always talk about them. We have, so that's part of continuing education as well. And then you've got things like Top Summit. I mean, this definitely, getting all the education that you need is so imperative for your business growing. And then you've got dues. So monthly dues that you have with any sort of like rank makers, that could be dues as well, or advertising, just about the same thing. And then you've got cost of goods sold. So these are products that you're buying anyway, right? The only difference, see Kelly's going to still buy her products at retail. I'm going to buy them at wholesale. Okay, Kelly's not going to get to write them off on her taxes. I do. So who's smarter, me or Kelly? And let's just be real about it. Come on, Kelly, who's smarter, right? And so when I don't attack my friend, I'm just telling her the real truth, and I just break it down. Nobody's ever told her, because of taxes, I'm doing this. And if I do it long enough, if I run my mouth long enough and talk to people, because I'm guaranteed to save money in taxes, guess what? Enough people will stay on my team. I will keep people on my team. They understand the tax advantages. They stay in long enough to win, and they start bringing in different people. So, super excited. Now that total is $35,000. I'm not even going to think about using that number. I want you to understand, I'm just going to use $25,000. So if I had the same scenario, same 60 grand, you're not making a single dollar in network marketing. You've got the business expenses, the taxes, the take home, the cost of living, and here's what's left over. So your friend who was yesterday a W-2 employee who now is in a business, you have actually helped change their life, whether they make money or not. Because if they're single, it's $5,600 a year difference in bring home money, right? That would be the equivalent of them making $3.79 per hour for every 2,000 hours they work every single year. That's a huge deal, guys. You can change people's lives with this. And so the other part is, if you're married, it's about $4,500 a year. They did make an extra $3.05 an hour to be equivalent. So this is where I got super excited. I had somebody come to my office last year, and they said, hey, husband was making $85 grand a year. The wife was making $55 grand a year. They wanted to know how much money they were going to pay in taxes this year, because they had a pay increase of about $35 grand. And so I figured it up, and they were literally going to get $13,000 of the $35 because the taxes were going to eat up the other $22. And I'm like, that is absurd. That's absurd, right? So I said, what if one of you stayed at home? If you had the $85,000, kept his job, the $55,000 went away, how much money would you need to be able to make in order to be equivalent to the $55,000? It was $1,800 a month. $21,000 a year is all she was really making off of her $55,000 a year paycheck. Okay, so when you realize that $34,000 a year that you're making is going to the government, you decide to do something different. And I said, you know what? All you need to do is find $1,000 a month. Find a network marketing company, something you're passionate about. Open up your mouth and start sharing that with people. And it'll free up so much money because you're getting tax deductions along the way and making money. So it's amazing. So $1,000 a month, that's all she needed to make. So if you understand that, now if you start making money, an extra $500 a month, here's what happens. You've got an extra 10 grand a year in your pocket. So you've only made 6, but you've got more money in your pocket because you're not having to pay taxes like on FICA taxes. You don't have to pay those because you still haven't made an actual income on paper. It's so funny. I have people tell me all the time, well, my wife is costing me money because she's losing money in her business. And I'm like, no, your wife's not costing you money. Your wife is saving the hard-earned money you make because she's in that business trying to work her butt off. You don't realize what she's doing for you. She's actually saving you 40 cents on the dollar of every dollar the IRS is taking from you because she is doing that business. Because the things that you were already spending before she ever got in that business are tax deductible. It just looks like that on paper for you. So let me break it down for you. So I typically do. So one of the things I want to share, I'm super passionate about because I don't have much time, I'm talking too fast, is social giving. I turned my business into social giving April 16th of 2018. I fell in love with giving children, and my whole passion is to eradicate childhood malnutrition and then free up enough money for people to be able to help me along the way. So I feel like if you help enough people get exactly what they want, you'll automatically get what you want in life, and that's the way I've lived my life. So we have been able to give. For every dollar that comes in our accounting practice, we provide a serving of whole food, plant-based nutrition to children in need through a nonprofit called Manna Relief, the only nonprofit in the world that provides whole food, plant-based nutrition. And so what we've been able to do with our firm as of April 16th is to provide 1,289,435 servings of food to children in need. Thank you. So and that was through January 31st, which is my birthday, which is when W-2s and 1099s and everything else is due, right? I never get to enjoy it, but I did this year. But we're able to feed 5,578 kids a day, every day. That's what we're doing. We're freeing up money. We're feeding children. We're changing the world. We're trying to teach people to do this so that they can have a better life and so that they have the money that they need. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to talk more about this because I have no minutes left. This is super important. When you make money, you need an LLC. The minute you hit $1,000 a month, you need an LLC, and that's gross income. The minute that you make $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month in net income, we need to talk about you getting an S corporation. An S corporation, an LLC does nothing tax-wise. It just allows you to treat your business either as a sole proprietor or S corporation. An S corporation allows you to bypass almost completely self-employment taxes. You can bypass 80% of them. It is a huge deal. I've seen clients save $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 1 year on a tax return because of this, and their prior accountant didn't explain it. So we're going back and amending these tax returns, these LLCs that should be treated as S corporations. If you're making $60,000 a year, 15.3% of that, which is self-employment taxes, that's $9,000. If you were self-employed as a sole proprietor, you would pay that $9,000. If you have an S corporation, you would pay about $1,800 of that. So that's it. Huge deal, and we can talk about that as well. And it doesn't cost a lot to. It's like $250 for us to file the paperwork for that. And then it costs you a little bit more to do the tax returns every year. But it's a great time. It's never been a better time to start a business. You need to start a business. Your friends need to start a business for the tax benefits alone. Take the tax deductions you're entitled to. Hire a good accountant. If someone tells you that these are not tax deductions, the things that I went through, you need to find someone else because they will not help you if you get audited. Please understand, I see it every single day. I see CPAs, tax attorneys tell people lies after lies after lies, and it makes me sick. Like it makes me, I saw somebody just recently, the last couple weeks, $200,000 she ever paid on taxes. $200,000 in 1 year. Like this is major money, guys. So I just want you to understand how big of a deal this is. The next thing is track the deductions. Because the last thing I want you to do is take the deductions, not have any sort of tracking, and then not be able to take the deductions that you're entitled to. And here's my book. I wrote this book to help you guys build a team. There's a chapter in it. It says why you be brain dead not own a business, but it's why you be brain dead. The next step is why you need a home-based business, even if you don't have one. I'll have some of these books out in the lobby. I'm speaking tomorrow. I've never actually done a class and dove deeper into what I do on a daily basis. I've only done it here. So I'm super excited to be able to share with you guys how to free up some more money. And I know that my time is out, so there's you can actually book a tax strategy session. I'll go through, I'll find you money, I'll tell you what you should have done, tell you what we need to do moving forward. I'll give you our prices. You can get somebody else to do it. You can get us to do it. So that's all the time I have. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Give it up for Courtney!
So good.
So good. All right. I'll find you money. I was like, yes, please. That'd be great. All right, guys, so we're going to break for lunch. However, don't get out your seat. Otherwise, I will find you. No. All right. So for those of you who are interested in Lunch and Learn with Chris Holder, if you're all access, you're all good. If you're VIP and you chose Chris, then you're all good. If you want access to that, you can go to the registration desk and sort that. The lunch will be in there for you guys. Once you get your lunch, come back in here. Because that's when the lunch and learn is going to be taking place. For everyone else, you can feel free. There's options over the street. You can go over to the hotel there, ask concierge. I think there's 3 different options for you guys. Be back in the room, in your seat at 2:20. Okay, because that's when we're going to get started. So 2:20. Really excited to see you after lunch. Have a good time. And yeah, see you at 2:20.